Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Casmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Inspector General of Police, together with Police Management Board, engage with 600 officers scheduled for deployment in the upcoming Akwatia by-election. Also coming up, Public Accounts Committee refers an infraction involving the procurement of items costing 105,577 cited against the Ghana Navy to the Attorney General for prosecution. And much later, over 461,000 candidates of senior, high and technical schools sit for this year's WASSCE examinations. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tetoyono, together with the Police Management Board, is currently engaging over 600 officers scheduled for deployment in the upcoming Akwatia by-election. The officers are wrapping up a 5-day intensive training program at the Police High Risk Operations Training Center at Tremanting in the Eastern region. The training refreshed skills in combat tactics, advanced search operations, target shooting and other specialized strategies. Stanley Nibleu is our man covering this. He joins us live on the line. Stanley, what can you tell us?
Hello.
Stanley, what can you tell us from what you've monitored so far?
Okay, so I can report that the engagement with the IGP has come to an end, and the IGP had departed from the scene or the venue to Accra moments ago. But I must report that this engagement forms part of a bouquet of engagement or strategies that the Ghana Police Service had adopted just to ensure that the Akwatia by-election goes or happens in a smooth and violence-free manner. So some 600 individual or service personnel selected from across the country were brought into the Police High Risk Operation Training Center here in the Eastern region to refreshing their skills, to sharpen their skills in the areas of target or precise shooting. There was also another activity called rappelling that the servicemen, some of them were able to descend from a certain altitude or height with rope. This is to ensure that these people, wherever they find themselves, and the servicemen cannot just easily have access to for any trouble that had been perpetrated by supporters of the political parties partaking in the exercise. These people would be able to reach the area via rope, and so that exercise also took place. But the police service and the Ghana police service, the IGP and the Police Management Board, they were resolute in their decision, because when you follow the December 7, 2024 elections and then the 19 polling stations that were rerun at the Ablekuma North, you realize that some of the police officers that were deployed to the centers, they were not armed. But as I speak, as part of the IGP's strategy going into the Akwatia by-election, these people are going to be armed at various polling stations, and they form a fraction of some 5,000 police deployments that will be done or be deployed to the Akwatia by-election to provide security. Apart from these 600 men, there is also 2,000 servicemen and women who would next week undergo another training in public management order. And all these people will be deployed to Akwatia just to ensure that the by-election, just as the police administration had indicated, they wanted this by-election to be one of the freest election or by-election that has been held in the country. So they are bringing on board all their strategies, all their arsenals to make sure that the election or the by-election is held in a free, transparent, and violence-free manner.
Indeed. If you can tell us, Stanley, briefly, how far or close the community Tremantin where you are is to Akwatia, and if you can tell us the atmosphere even with less than 2 weeks to the election.
Tremantin is very far from Akwatia, very far from Akwatia. It is around Somanya Enclave. At Akwatia is around Kofodia Nkoko area, and so it is very far from here. But here they have sited or situated their training center here. That is how come they were able to send their men here for training.
Thank you very much, Stanley Nibleo, currently with the police team at Tremantin in the eastern region, where some 600 men are being trained ahead of the 2nd of September by-election in Kwetia. Meanwhile, the coalition of civil society organizations against political vigilantism and violence extremism is calling for the new Patriotic Party to be called to order over what it describes as the party's paradoxical posture ahead of the Kwetia by-election. In a statement today, the coalition said it was deeply concerned about MPP's reaction after a security meeting with the Inspector General of Police and the reaction to the election task force. Remember that the police service had assured stakeholders of its readiness to protect voters and ensure a credible poll. But the MPP questioned the credibility of the police in enforcing the law and threatened to defend itself or the members, citing the lack of arrest from the recent Ablekuma North election rerun. Let's speak to Eben Feneko. He's the National Director, Coalition of CSOs Against Political Vigilantism and Violence Extremism. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon, Beatrice, and I regard to listeners all over the country.
You have accused the NPP of taking a paradoxical and dangerous posture. Are you able to tell us what statement from the NPP exactly makes you describe them this way?
Great. Interestingly, we all condemn, if you follow, or if listeners followed our press release during or just after the by-elections at the rerun of the 19 police stations at Ablekuma North, we actually condemn the violence and intimidation that took place at Ablekuma North. And so we have written our own report and then try to engage the police service. They gave us assurance that before the Akwatia elections, they'll put systems in place. And I wasn't surprised that yesterday that meeting took place between the political party, IGP himself, and the police task force. And so for the assurances to be given and visible evidence of police people getting ready, including the training of standby forces, to be able to handle a Akwatia election. And that should be encouraging and motivating enough for political parties to agree with the police yesterday, the outcome of the meetings that they had, where the IGP assured the nation that, they will do everything possible to protect and safeguard peace, protect voters, and secure the integrity of the electoral process. I think that should have been enough. But for MPP National Organizer and Deputy Secretary to come on TV and start, in a way, dissatisfied with the police and casting doubt on the credibility of the police.
You still haven't answered the question. What specific thing did the MPP say that makes you describe?
That's exactly what I'm going to.
Because of time, I'll be because of time. I'll be happy if you can say exactly what it is.
Great. So the casting of doubt on the credibility of the police administration and further threatening to protect and defend themselves on the grounds that there hasn't been any arrest or prosecution of perpetrators of violence during the Ablekuma North rerun.
How does a call to self-defense pose security threat?
Great. So we my area is political vigilantism action. And so the moment we start to make this kind of calls, Beatrice, what it does is that it motivates and in fact, you are trying to encourage, you are encouraging vigilante militants to take the law into their own hands on the grounds.
What do you intend to do about this, aside from your displeasure with that statement expressed by the NPP?
Yeah, so we are calling on the electoral commission to demand full cooperation from the political parties and condemn all threats that could compromise the credibility of the by-election. And also we are calling on civil society and religious leaders to speak boldly against political recklessness and amplify the call for peaceful issue-based campaigning.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eben Feneko. He's the National Director, Coalition of CSOs Against Political Vigilantism and Violence Extremism. We stay on election-related matters because the Electoral Commission has set September 30 for the by-election in Tamale Central constituency. Even before the announcement, some names emerged as potential replacement for the late MP Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. Notable among them are Hanan Gundado, a former mayor of Tamale, Dr. Nashiru, a former governor of the Bank of Ghana, Alhaji Fari Ihan, MD of GCB Bank, Dr. Suli Idris, principal of Tamale College of Education and brother of Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu. Let's speak to my colleague Christopher Amwako, who is monitoring things on this development for us. Chris, some names already coming up, and I just mentioned them. Just tell us, really, the atmosphere there about a month to the election.
Yesterday, when the Electoral Commission came out with the guidelines for the by-election in the Tamale Central constituency, even before that, some people have begun consulting their constituents to find out whether or not they would give them the necessary support for them to be able to win the parliamentary primaries should the NDC open nominations. And I think that the Tamale Central constituency, since the unfortunate demise of the former member of parliament, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, people are beginning to point out to some persons that they think can also express interest in this contest. So people are still doing their consultations, but some names have really come up. Some of them have actually come out to say that they are not ready yet to contest the elections in the Tamale Central constituency. Others are quiet about it and have also expressed interest in running for the primaries.
Quite interesting. What are the constituents saying?
Yes, the constituents are saying that yes, even though unfortunately they lost their member of parliament and the pain that comes with it, but they have to also get representation in parliament. And so they are hoping that someone that the delegates will give the opportunity to be someone that can fit into the shoes of the late member of parliament. That aside, they also believe that it should not be a do-or-die affair. It should be something that will bring the party together, because the late member of parliament was a unifier, and this should not serve as a platform for them to disunite the party in the constituency.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Christopher Marco. He's our Northern Region correspondent. Now, the Public Accounts Committee has referred an infraction cited against the Ghana Navy to the Attorney General for prosecution. The head of procurement at the Ghana Navy is cited for uncompetitive procurement of items amounting to over 105,000 cedis without value for money. Meanwhile, the Health Committee of Parliament has also criticized the minority for politicizing the assault of a nurse at the Ridge Hospital, blaming them for inadequate recruitment of health professionals under the past administration. While condemning the assault and the circumstances that led to that, the chairman of the Health Committee, Dr. Mark Kurt Nawane, indicated that inadequate personnel at health facilities is to blame for such cases. He was engaging journalists in Parliament earlier.
And this problem is not a problem that has been created recently. For 8 years of the MPP, they did not employ everybody. As we speak now, we have about 1,000 doctors at home. We have about 48,000 nurses who are not employed. We have about more than 1,500 pharmacists who are still to be employed. And for the allied sciences and laboratory, I think it is in the tens of thousands that are at home and are still not employed. The NDC government cannot use 8 months to solve a problem that has been created within 8 years. So we call on the government to make sure that we continuously reduce the numbers. As I speak now, the doctors, there are still about 900 at home. Let's bring them in to assist in our hospitals, to assist in our clinics. Let's employ these nurses as soon as it's practicable.
And you had the chairman of Parliament Health Committee, Dr. Mark Ket Nawane. Let's speak to Christian Yale briefly. Chris, we do understand that the committee chairman also reacted to the conduct of health officers. Can you tell us exactly what he said?
Yes, Beatrice, what we know is that he has largely condemned the circumstances that led to the situation at the Ridge Hospital. But what he said specifically about the conduct of the health professionals is one that has to do with inadequate staffing at the various health facilities. Ketnawani is of the view that over the years, government has not done much in recruiting nurses, and so he makes the point that when you look at the situation critically, a lot of these health professionals are stressed, and they are dealing with so much stress such that because of their inadequate numbers, they have to deal with a lot of cases at a time, which can sometimes degenerate into some of the circumstances that we see, like the one which had happened at the Ridge Hospital, for which reason today he has more or less sought to, criticize the minority side for not looking at the gravity of the issue and the core of the issue, but seeking to politicize it in a way to make it disadvantage the current government, but rather wants them to more or less approach the issue with a human face, while he's also appealed to the police, for instance, to conduct their investigations and regularly seek to update the public on what they have uncovered so far concerning the issue.
And indeed, we heard him say that the NDC cannot correct wrong that was committed in 8 years. But what other demands did he make aside from that?
Yes, so the other demand basically has been for, like I indicated, for the police to come out with updates on their investigations. But one thing that he thinks is to be addressed as urgently as possible would be to look at the staffing. But again, he condemns everything. He is of the view that no matter the situation or the circumstance, it is not right for health professionals to neglect their duty. On the other side, too, it is not right or justified for any individual to enter a health facility and because they are aggrieved or whatsoever, seek to, unleash harm or assault on any health official. So these are the issues that he really wants the public to note, that whatever be the case, the health facility or even the health committee, as a matter of fact, is with health professionals, especially those at Ridge Hospital, who are currently in the news for the wrong reasons, that they are with them and would seek to, as time goes on, come out with solutions and measures that would help to curb future or possible future reoccurrence of some of these nasty acts.
Thank you very much, Christian Yale. He's our parliamentary affairs correspondent. Some 19 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll bring you some more, especially regarding the start of WASI. Don't go away.
Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596-920-833 or 0302-200-390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
And you're still here on the Midday News on Shri FM 92.7 now. Over 461,000 candidates of the senior, high and technical schools are sitting for this year's WASSCE. The number reflects a slight increase of 1,029 candidates compared to the 460,611 who sat for the examination last year. George Coining is there, and let's speak exactly what he's saying.
To see what really transpired. The question is, you see top?
Yeah, the orals was normal. Yeah, really, it wasn't really that bad. It was just normal. Yeah.
So I heard you guys use 45 minutes to write the orals?
Yes, sir.
45 minutes to listen to questions and answer, right?
Yes, sir.
And it was cool?
Yes, it was. By Jehovah's grace, everything was good.
How did you see the paper?
It was quite well. Everything was smooth. So just testing our technical know-how of our spelling and everything. It was quite good.
Back in my time, I know English was one paper that was very difficult. It's a core whatever subject, and so every school across the country is writing that examination. Was there some sort of fear when you a day before the paper?
Actually, so this was our first time. So maybe you feel some fear, but after the paper or when you're writing the paper, you actually see that it's nothing that really big.
Okay. So English, of course, is a core subject. So every secondary school across the country that is taking part in this very exam took part of it. But here, if you come here at Accra High School, they are continuing with their practicals. That's visual students. So these students are actually continuing with their practicals. So on the 5th of August, they started with their practical. That was sculpture and leather work. And so they are continuing with the practicals. And today they are doing graphic design. And they'll finish on the 5th of on the Friday, 22nd of August. So I just want to take you inside and see some of the students that are actually, writing the paper. It looks like, some of them are done. But graphic design, I saw some people drawing some, macho people. Yes. Is there any question that was posed?
Yes. There are 2 questions that are given. You choose one. I chose the package. So those with the macho that you see, they are the ones doing what we call logo design. Mm-hmm. So they will print down on their t-shirts. That's what they are doing. Mm-hmm. But for me, I'm doing the package, yes. So you have to decide.
Okay. I saw one student with a big cardboard, like a drawing paper. That one was for what exactly?
So that students, they are the ones doing the packaging. Mm-hmm. So actually, I don't know much about the packaging. I did the logo. So I can talk much about the logo more than the packaging. Mm-hmm.
And you heard there, George Coining. He's currently at the Accra High Senior High School interacting with some WASSCE students who just finished with the first of their papers. Now, Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Alhassan Suhini, says the government has committed the entire $2 billion annual infrastructure allocation to road construction this year, with expectations of a similar focus next year. This, he says, marks a significant national shift that prioritizes economic impact over social infrastructure like schools and hospitals. He was speaking on Agenda with me on TV3 last night.
The allocation this year is wholly for roads, and we also expect that next year it will, if not all of it, but majority of it again will be allocated to roads. And that is why we find it a duty to ensure that we do not fail, because we are suspending the construction of schools, we are suspending the construction of hospitals, just so that we can build roads that will impact the economy and impact lives in the future. So we cannot afford to fail for this sacrifice that the nation is making for the road sector.
And he had the Deputy Roads Minister Alhassan Suhini. He's also the Member of Parliament for Tamale North. Well, speaking on agenda as well, economist and former director of ISA, Professor Peter Kote, said there is also a need for a proper coordinated effort to make the big push agenda work.
This big push idea or concept started in the 1940s, where the idea is basically you can't do incremental interventions or investment. There has to be a big push so that there will be complementarities. So investment in multiple areas, multiple sectors that will provide backward and forward linkages. So this big push idea is what we are applying to the road sector at the moment, that we're going to really revamp the road sector. But, one thing that is critical for the big push to succeed is that there has to be a very clear, coordinated attempt at doing this. You cannot just rope in a big push when there's lack of coordination. The big push will also bring in the private sector. It will set the pace, provide incentive for the private sector to engage. So if it's road, then government has to set the pace with incentives for the private sector to come in. And I think the NDC's or the current government's agenda of the big push, the $10 billion, I don't think it has $10 billion sitting in its accounts recently to spend, but with the hope that it will provide the environment for the private sector to engage with a coordinated approach to revamp our roads. Our roads are bad, as your statistics show.
And he had Professor Peter Korte. He's an economist and immediate past director of ISA. President John Mahama is urging Japanese business to take advantage of the stability of the Ghanaian economy and invest for growth and economic partnership. Speaking at the Presidential Investment Forum on the sidelines of the TSAD 9 conference in Yokohama, Japan, the president said the economic fortunes of the country in its research agenda has shown signs of improvement with a commitment of giving incentives to businesses ready to invest.
Ghana's import from Japan as of 2024 stands at $120.5 million, with export hovering well over $215 million.
It goes without saying that strengthening the partnership between Japanese and Ghanaian companies is a key for the developing economic relations between the two countries. JETRO has an office in Accra, will continue to contribute to the development of business between Japan and Ghana.
Foreign direct investment from the Asian giant hits over $152 million, with 26 projects from 1994 to date, from agriculture, construction, manufacturing to services and tourism. For Ghana's Trade and Industry Minister Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari, Ghana is open for business now than before in an administration that is committed to growth and offering business opportunities.
For Ghana, the priority is clear. We seek partners who will invest, innovate, and build industry with us. For Japan, the advantage is equally clear. Ghana offers stability, resources, and access to vast continental markets, especially the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, as well as returns on your investments.
Minister for Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, showcasing the progress under the current dispensation, says economic diplomacy must promote investment, hinting the strict compliance and adherence to KPIs from Ghana's envoys, intimated of Ghana's economic diplomacy being people-centered.
We are determined to ensure that your investment is not only protected, but you also have good returns. And under President Mahama, you can be assured that your choice in Ghana, choosing Ghana, will be the best decision that you ever made, because you cannot go wrong when you invest in Ghana, and particularly investing at this time under the visionary and pragmatic leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
For the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Chief Executive, African investment portfolio of $3 trillion, there is a wide range of opportunities in various sectors that remains untapped, urging businesses to take advantage of a stable political climate and invest.
For those farming in cocoa, and just so you know, the government under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has announced that they are going to make available 200,000 hectares of land for cocoa farming.
Komla Kulucha found that report from Japan. He's currently with the president there. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us on the Midday News today. Log on to ShriNews.com for more news. Coming up shortly is Business Daily with Bismarck Awusa.
600 cedis.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Hausa. Coming up this afternoon, global ratings agency Fitch warned 6 banks in Ghana face capital challenges and may require injections, mergers or extended forbearance despite sector-wide improvement in capital adequacy. Also ahead, Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, blames 3.24 billion cedis revenue shortfalls for stalled capital expenditure and delays in government's flagship Big Push agenda. And Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, renews push to expand tax net with sustained education drive targeting the informal sector. These stories and others lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Global ratings agency Fitch has flagged that 6 banks operating in Ghana are unlikely to meet capital compliance solely through their own earnings. It says the institutions may need fresh capital injections, consolidation with stronger banks, or more regulatory forbearance to stay afloat. The following 3 Business News Desk report has the details. Fitch Ratings has caught Ghanaian banks are at risk of failing to achieve the required capital adequacy compliance if left to rely only on internal capital generation. According to the agency, 2 of the undercapitalized banks are government-owned, and despite having already received capital support, they are expected to require additional injections, though this may not materialize before the end of 2025. The report notes that such banks may need to merge with or be acquired by better capitalized peers if fresh capital is not secured. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana's latest disclosures show a stronger position for the wider industry. The sector's capital adequacy ratio, excluding regulatory forbearance, improved significantly, rising from 8.7% in February 2024 to 18.2% by June 2025. This means that the majority of banks are expected to remain comfortably compliant when the final phase of losses from government bond restructuring is accounted for at the close of 2025. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on ratings agency Fitch warning that 6 banks in Ghana face capital challenges and may require injections, mergers, or extended forbearance despite sector-wide improvement in capital adequacy. Meanwhile, the UK-based research firm says the vast majority of Ghanaian banks are on track to be capital compliant once regulatory forbearance relating to the treatment of Ghana's domestic default expires at the end of 2025. This, it says, is due to strong profits, low risk-weighted asset growth, and in some cases, capital injections. Moving on, the Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, is raising red flags over a significant shortfall in government revenue, warning it's behind delays in key capital projects under the 2025 budget, including a flagship Big Push development agenda. The think tank says government revenue fell short by over 3.2 billion cedis in the first half of the year and fears the challenge will persist through to December. Research fellow at the Institute, Leslie Mensah, says this will likely keep capital spending at a minimum for the rest of 2025.
Despite the shortfall in total revenue and grants in the first half of the year, all the components of revenue, aside ESLA proceeds, remain the same as in the original budget. It is therefore clear that the revised revenue projection for 2025 does not account for the developments in the first half of the year and consequently looks unlikely to be achieved. So all the revenue items were maintained, except ESLA, which went up. Yet there were substantial reductions in revenue vis-a-vis target for a number of revenue handles in the first half of the year. So it appears it's clear that the revenue projection for the revised revenue projection for 2025 does not take into consideration what happened in the first half of the year, and consequently looks unlikely to be achieved.
And that was a research fellow at the Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, Leslie Mensah. This is still Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Osa. To some other stories, the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, is stepping up efforts to bring the informal sector into the national tax net as part of a renewed strategy to enhance domestic revenue mobilization. The authority says it is rolling out sustained tax education campaigns targeted at informal sector players who form the majority of Ghana's workforce but remain largely outside the tax system. Speaking on behalf of the Commissioner General, the 9th Women in Taxation Conference in Accra, a special advisor reaffirmed GRA's commitment to expanding the country's tax base through inclusive and targeted outreach.
The GRA is doing a number of things. In the coming days, the Commissioner General will be launching what we flagged sustained tax education. This is to break down tax education and information so that the uninformed, the semi-literate or the semi-educated person can understand what tax administration is in very clear and basic language. We are not going to look at very verbose language. It's not going to look at very grammatic technologies. But how can the woman in Abosokan, how can the woman in Mokola market or in Ho market, or the woman selling on the tabletop in my village, Sokode Bable, how will they understand that when they pay tax, it will affect them because their children will have better classrooms to learn from, their roads will be better for them, and their clinics will be more equipped with equipment to take care of them when they are sick.
And that was Esli Apau Eklu, the technical